Okay, this is Dash Show Rhodes here back with more Family Guy. I forgot to look up the numbered episode again. I keep forgetting to do that. It's alright though. Again, I'll do what I did last time. I will just, what I did last time, when I'm making the title for my YouTube video, I will number the episode. Anywho, this is supposed to be the good episode of season 4. Basically, this episode has Brian, having to go to this meeting or something at school because Peter, wanted him to go. So he goes to this meeting. He runs into Quagmire. This is before Quagmire and Brian hated each other. But the good old days before, Fox, or I don't know if it was Fox or I think it was just Family Guy that did this. Because in season 8, they started making him Quagmire hate Brian, and that started the duel and all that. I don't know, he runs into Quagmire, and then he sees this black girl, and he starts dating her, and I forgot her name, honestly. But, yeah, he starts dating her, and, he wants to name the school after Martin Luther King Jr., because, he wants to impress his girlfriend. But Peter sabotages, his chance to do that, and, she ends up starting to hate, Brian's girlfriend and him start to get mad at Peter and all that, and Peter ends up making new friends with James Woods. But yeah, Peter starts hanging out with James Woods because Brian is hanging out with his girlfriend. So yeah, Peter's kind of being a jerk in this episode, because Brian, is seeing someone else. However, I think the James Woods segments are actually kind of funny. Like, basically, James Woods starts acting like a dog and stuff to please Peter. It's pretty funny. Some of the cutaway gags in this episode are actually pretty funny, too. I do like some of the cutaway gags. They are pretty good. But basically, it's pretty, an entertaining episode. I don't really think I have really any flaws with it, actually. I think it's pretty good. I really do. I find it to be really good. Again, Peter is kind of a jerk, but I still think it's kind of funny. Like, I think it's funny how they make it James Woods kind of a bad guy and all that. It's pretty funny. This is actually James Woods' first episode, too. So, yeah, it's his first episode. I have to give this one definitely a good. It's a great episode. It really is. It definitely is. Yeah, I'm jumping right into it. It's definitely great. It's really good. I don't really have a lot to say, really, about this episode. I really don't. For the first time, I really don't have a lot to say. I could talk about some of the cutaway gags, I guess, but see, this is actually the point where doing a seasonal review would be better, honestly. Because, doing a seasonal review, I could talk about an episode for a second and move on when I don't have a lot to say. But I don't have a lot to say here, so I guess I'll talk about... I've already mentioned that this is a good episode. And I gotta say, I will talk about one of the cutaway gags. But yeah, the washing machine cutaway gag is definitely kind of funny. Now again, this episode doesn't have as good a cutaway gags as the last one I made. But I think there's fewer problems with this one than the last episode I made. And actually, I watched through this entire episode, unlike the last one I reviewed for Season 4. I actually watched this entire episode. I did. Yes. And there's also a musical number in this episode too, and I think it's good. Not as good as other musical numbers in this show, but I think it's still good. It's basically James Woods and Peter singing about how their friendship and stuff, which is pretty good. But anywho, it's probably about time I give this a score too. It's getting 120 points. That's right, this is getting 120 points. I really like this episode. Again, not as much as the last one I made, but I think unlike the last one, there really isn't any flaws with this episode that I could catch. I think it's a really good episode. I especially like the way they defeat James Woods by making a trail of Reese's Pieces and locking him in a crate. And they have a reference to the Indiana Jones films. I think that's really good. It really is. It really is. Now, I haven't really seen the Indiana Jones movies that much. I think I've seen segments of them. I don't know if I've seen an entire film. But I remember one of the movies had a ending where they had a crate segment. And that's how they defeat James Woods. They put him in a crate and they play the Indiana Jones theme at the crate theme at the end. I think this is definitely a good episode. I recommend it. I really do. I recommend the last one too I reviewed. Anywho, it's time I let this go. Please subscribe for more videos. Also, please hit the notification bell, because you gotta subscribe and hit the notification bell. Also, comment down below and tell me what you guys think of this episode. Anywho, this is Dash Schultrose. Have a nice day.